What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Hawk, and today I'm talking about playing solo. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm. No, don't have a dirty mind. That's not what I'm talking about, guys. I'm talking about playing Call of Duty solo, and man, is it frustrating. So here I'm playing a game of ground war domination using the AN-94 on the map Turbine, which is easily not one of my favorite maps, but I find I do very well on Turbine a lot of the time. That's just the way it is. It's just because it's wide open. There's a lot of area to let your kill streaks go ham, and there's nowhere. There's only a few buildings that that your enemies can camp in, as we know that they usually will find whatever way they can to hide away from you, or sit in corners or whatever. And it doesn't help. It does not help at all when sometimes you have some of the worst teammates. When usually the thing, it's just how it works out. When you're playing solo, that's when all the bad players usually come out, and they usually end up being on your team. God, I don't even know if you guys agree with me. Just smack the like button down below just to show your support. That when you're playing solo by yourself, it seems like the worst players find their way on your team. Don't ask me how. It just happens. But anyways, the main point of this is just the issues I have with playing solo. Just what happens to me and some stuff like that. I'm just going to talk about this in this commentary. So it may be a little bit of a rant. It's 11 minutes long, but I know you guys really like supporting my channel, and you guys have done very well so far. So hopefully stick around for the whole video. So when it comes to playing solo, I have a certain mindset, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have the same thing, is that you can't rely on anyone. You cannot rely on anyone to have your back. And that's part of a reason why I've kind of gone away from my Road to 100 Plus series. Playing solo, and I don't want to I've never ever wanted to do this to you guys, is ask a whole bunch of my friends or to whatever to party up and to play some ground war with me. And I never wanted to ask you guys to support me, because that's not the kind of channel I want to be. I don't want to be one of those guys that bosses people around so much so that they're afraid to, play the way they want to play. I would never, ever want to do that to you guys, and that's just the way I handle things and the way I want to handle things. But in terms of, I don't want to ask people to run support for me. Other commentators, that's how they do their thing. They're good at it too, and they've been successful doing that so far. But I do things differently here, so I never wanted to ask people to run support for me. So usually when I was trying to get my 100 plus kills, and I do try to go for them every now and again, but the same thing is that the one thing I should mention is that I haven't done so for a while. Playing ground war solo is very frustrating for me itself. Playing at home and just having my mom and my sister in the background hearing some of the shit talking that I'm doing to other, full parties of like 6 guys, 9 guys. When it's you, it's like, it feels like you have the world on your shoulders. Your team is so bad sometimes that you have to carry everyone, and you can't do it. Sometimes there's no way you can do it, but that's the way it is. If you're trying to get gameplays, ground war is pretty much the best place for you to get high scoring games, so you have to. And as I said, I don't like people running support for me. I don't want to ask you guys for that, so I have to go and try to get the gameplays by myself. And another thing, even if I did ask people for support in that kind of method, not too many people would be like, yeah, I want to run support for you. I'm not a big YouTube commentator. I'm a small channel. I'm slowly getting my niche, getting my foot in the door there, getting a little bit more exposure. And basically, I'm trying, like, my ideal thing. Now this is totally aside. I know I always do this thing where I go aside and start talking about something else in the commentary, but my ideal goal is having like a team of just 6 guys, maybe for Call of Duty Ghosts or whatever, or even Battlefield, maybe 4 guys that are all commentators. We all have our small little channels, under 1,000 subs, and we always we all play together or something like that. But I want to have guys that are better than me. I don't want to be the best guy in the group. I want to have people who are a lot better than I am, so I can learn and become better from that. Like, you always want to try to surround yourself with better players than you, so you can learn how they react to certain situations, how they handle choke points, and how they know the spawns, or how they've learned the spawns. And to make yourself become a better player. I mean, if you're playing 6 hours a day and you're not getting any better, then you're doing something wrong. This goes for the same thing in real life. If you're really bad at algebra and you don't take time to practice it, I'm not saying you should go. I'm not saying you should go and play Call of Duty because you don't want to do your algebra, but you know what I mean. If you're not good at algebra, if you don't put the time in, you're never ever going to succeed at it. You can't just learn from osmosis. You can't just learn by touching something. That's not how things are. You have to put in the time, and playing solo is the kind of thing where either you have the skill, you're born with the skill to predict spawns and be a beast player, fast twitch reflexes, your jump, the spawns and where people are coming from. And there's also a small portion of that which can be attributed to luck. I mean, some lobbies you have to be really, really lucky to get your 100 plus, in that lobby. You have to not die on your high streaks. You're trying to get your VSAT Lodestar Swarm or your VSAT K9 unit and any other of those high streaks, and it really requires luck and a certain combination of a lobby just completely not killing you off those streaks. So in terms of being able to repeat that over and over, there's only certain players which are able to get 100 plus kills back to back to back to back. Even the guys going for 200 kills, 250, 300 kills. There's a lot of guys going for that, and some of the UK guys might even be one of the first guys to pump out a gameplay of that nature. But there's only a few players that are able to every game consistently get over 100. Myself personally, I'm just in the stage of a good player trying to get that much better and try to get that much more consistent, because there's some times where I'm completely inconsistent, or usually one game you go 50 kills and then the next game you end up going 30, 50, say you go 51 and 5, and then the next game you end up going 32 and 13, and it's hard to be consistent every single game in and game out. And sometimes it's based on connection, sometimes it's based on the lobby, and sometimes it's based upon just mental things, processes that happen within ourselves. And sometimes it's confidence, and there's a lot of factors that come into play. So this is just one of the games I had in Ground War. This is a very, very old gameplay. You can tell by my player card emblem that I was just tinkering around with things like that. But anyways, so any of you guys that play solo, you know exactly the things that I'm talking about. So you're consistently having bad teammates, you're consistently having people doing their own thing. There's probably guys running around with pistols, guys in the back of the map sniping, guys with target finders, and these are all the things that have brought down just what makes me enjoy Call of Duty like when I'm just playing it solo or when I'm playing it with friends. It's these kind of things that have completely brought it down in my eyes, and playing solo is just, it feels like a job to be completely honest with you guys. So hopefully in Call of Duty Ghost they do things properly, that playing solo you get matched with teammates that are evenly on your skill, or teammates that can at least hold their own, and they're able to have positive KDs, and it will kick out people that don't play the objective. Something, maybe bringing this over from hardcore game modes, being able to kick players automatically who team kill their own friends or team kill teammates every once in a while, that would be a good thing brought over to the standard regular playlist. Maybe you can kick out players that aren't playing the objective, they haven't tried to cap any flags in domination, they're not getting any defense, they're not getting any caps, they're not getting any assists, they're not even trying to get any kills. Those players that are just fooling around doing crap like that, go do that in your own private lobby. Don't try to come and do that in a game where people are trying to enjoy a match, or people are trying to do their thing. If you want to do that kind of stuff, or trolling in itself, I never like trolling, just because of in a way trolling to its extreme could be considered bullying, and that's not something that I stand for, and that's not something that I want to promote on my channel whatsoever. And I'll make that very clear. If there's any guys saying, why don't you do trolling videos, it's not my kind of thing, So that's just my 2 cents. But in terms of playing solo, you have to have a completely different mindset A lot of the good players, they just think they react automatically. But for me, when I'm playing solo, what I think is I have to sustain what I'm doing for as long as I can. So I'm trying to stay alive. I may have to camp for a few seconds in order to move to the next position. I may have to camp in order to get this next kill streak. I don't want to die on my first VSAT. I don't want to die on my second or third or fourth VSAT. If it can help the team, I need to stay alive. That's the mindset that I have, and that's the mindset that sometimes you guys need to adopt when you're playing solo. I try to keep my attitude in check. Sometimes it doesn't really happen when you have a guy going 2 and 19 or 8 and 28 or something like that on your team, and they're just feeding the other team kill streaks. It's quite unfortunate, but it happens. That's Call of Duty Black Ops. Anyways, thanks for you guys for listening to this playing solo rant. I'll talk to you guys later, and peace.